What happens when we stop trying to love and trying to be loved and just be love? We'll talk about this today. This is Tom Kieran with Be Something Wonderful Studio of Higher Consciousness in San Diego, California, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Good morning, guys. Well, love is in the air. So we had a very big lesson yesterday on love. I want to come back at this from a different angle and talk about this idea of trying and striving, right? This is where all of our obstacles come in. This is what limits our manifestations and our creative ability. Instead of we try to love others. We try, right? We make an effort, right? And we think that's okay. We think that's what we're here to do. We're here to try to love, and we try to be loved, right? We try to do things that please people, or that's okay, or that's approved by them, or we don't want to be there's a big fear of being not loved or unloved. And that's what I want to get at this morning. So what I want to say is stop trying to love and stop trying to be loved and just be love, because that's who you are. So this is big this morning, guys. What does that mean? We're running around in circles with trying to be loved or trying to love. That you're chasing your tail. That's a never-ending, never fulfilling process, right? All of that comes from fear, right? That's fear of not being loved, fear of not loving enough. It all comes down. It's an absence of who you are. Who you are is love. It's an absence of that connection. It's that creative connection, right? This affects your manifestations. This affects what you're creating in every moment. When you're in a trying and striving stage, you're not creating, right? You're shrinking. You're in a fear-based mode. So you're probably going, Tom, no, I've created some things. Yeah, you might eke out a few creations, right? You might eke out a few things, but those are fear-based, right? You're shrinking, guys. You're not expanding. If you really want to unleash that creative power in you, you've got to stop the trying and striving, right? Looking for approval. We continue to look for validation from the outside, right? Looking for improvement of the outside. Anything you do, anything that's required from anybody from the outside is conditional and fear-based, and shrinks your creative power than rather expands it, right? So there's a difference, right? The small self, that ego-based self, that where we are in physicality that we fall into, this unaware when we're not being aware, right? We're not tapping into that awareness. When we're walking around unconscious, it's that little self that fears. We fear death is the big one, right? The fear of death. The fear of death of ourselves physically, the fear of death of our dreams, the fear of death of others and loved ones. Guys, this just makes you shrink, right? If once you tap into that self-love, that big S, that who you are, that connection to that bigger you, that bigger, brighter, greater, more loving you, then these fears fall away. That as Vadim Zealand in Transurfing calls them, these walls or these obstacles or the walls of the labyrinth crumble, right? But we spend our life trying to knock walls down rather than letting them dissolve and crumble. Getting into that love makes all of those obstacles, and the walls, you put walls around yourself too, right? And then you peer out to see if you're being loved, and if you're not, you shrink back in behind those walls. Right? You peer out to try to love, but if you don't get it back, you shrink back behind those walls, right? You tell someone you love them, they don't love you, you shrink back behind those walls, right? Looking at the world as a hostile place or a tough place or a struggle, right? But that if you work hard, that if you really do good things, that the world will love you. And guys, I'm here to say the world is whatever you think, We talked about this, right? So just be the love. And ignore what the world thinks, right? It doesn't, you determine that by who you are. And it gets back to this idea, I want to hit this idea again of acceptance. And it doesn't mean you condone or approve of it. It just means whatever's happening, you accept that it has its right to exist. It is, instead of trying to destroy it, right? Judgment tries to destroy it. Judgment tries to limit it. Judgment tries to shrink things, destroy things, eliminate things, right? Acceptance accepts things, their right to exist, their beingness. Yeah? And that you don't, it doesn't, but then if you don't, if you accept something but don't condone it or don't feel that you want it in your experience, then you don't have to put your awareness on it. It's all where you put your awareness and your attention, right? We spend putting our attention on things that we don't want most of the time. This is why we're always creating and attracting things we don't want, right? We just look around and for whatever shiny object catches our attention, we look at it. And guys, that affects what you're creating in that moment. Yeah. So acceptance really is about the unlimitedness. It's about that bigger you, that bigger self, that bigger love that's inside you. So being in love, what a great feeling, but being in love is just being loving. Being loving. It's not by doing things necessarily. It's just by being loved, being loving. Being loving is being that love. So imagine just being in love all the time, right? But with that bigger you, that bigger self, right? There's no unworthiness. And then, guys, when you make that shift, right? You're not in that fear energy, then everything you want starts coming to you. People want to be around you. The world just feels like it's revolving around you, and it is. And it is. Because when you get into this, when you're being in love and you're being love and you're being loving, that is the ultimate state of creation. That is the ultimate state of attracting anything you want. You truly can be, do, or have anything. Whenever you're in anything else, judging, limitation, lack, all of that shrinks you and shrinks your ability to create. You can create some things, but they're not going to be the things that you really want. They're not going to be the things that are lasting. And you're always going to feel that sense of emptiness inside, that sense of what else is there, right? Create to have fun. We're here to just be in love and be loving, right? Not here to keep judging and say, get rid of this, get rid of that. This person shouldn't do this person shouldn't do that. We're here just to accept. It doesn't mean we condone or agree with. It just means we choose to put our awareness and our attention on the things that we want, the loving things. This is powerful today, guys. This is what I wanted to this is what was rolling in my head this morning. This idea of every day you get to make the decision whether you're going to shrink or whether you're going to expand, right? Expanding is loving. Expanding is sharing that love, is being that love, right? Otherwise you're shrinking and you're living in fear, right? That's what love is. It's the expansion of who you are, right? You came here God became you so you could become God. And it's about creating that next best higher version of you, that more loving you, that more accepting you, that's the next best version, right? Guys, have fun with it. That's my message this morning. Be in love, be loving. This is Tom Kieran with the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness in San Diego, California, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, share the video, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you. Yeah. Until next time, this is Tom Kieran. See you soon.